Before we get started with this rambling review, everyone, full disclosure, I did receive this free and early copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows from Ubisoft themselves, plus I am a Ubisoft creator partner as well, so please take my opinion of this game with a grain of salt. And with all that being said and out of the way, what is going on, ladies and gents, everyone? My name is Malcolm, also known as Baytuh, and today I'm here to bring you all a rambling review of one of, if not the most controversial game of, I've been gaming for what, like a little over 20 years, probably one of the most controversial games in my lifetime that I've seen for stupid fucking reasons, Assassin's Creed Shadows. So in this rambling review, I'm going to be talking about what I think about the gameplay, the story, the characters, the world, music, all that good jazz. And there's non-spoiler for the most part. I will get into light spoilers, but it's not going to be like spoilers of like who lives, who dies, the ending, the journey of the characters, our main protagonist Yasuke and how it go on. Not like that. It's more of like to use your time a little bit more wisely than I did, because it took me about, my game clock rounded out to like 70 hours, I believe, but it's more like 65 because I was AFK for some of that, for some of that stuff. But yeah, just how to like go about the linear faction of the Assassin's Creed Shadows story and whatnot, so you don't have pacing issues that I had, even though it's mostly, I would say, my fault, but I'll get into that a little bit later in this video. So yeah, before we get started with this rambling review, if you guys could please leave a like on this video if you guys like what you saw. Please subscribe for more content. Helps about this channel a lot. Also, when you do subscribe, make sure you hit the little notification bell next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content I post to this channel, and make sure you set those notifications to all as well. Please share my channel and my videos to all your friends, families, cats and dogs, and who nots. And you guys can all follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky as well at Baytuh, Baytuh. If you want to keep supporting me even further, you can do so by donating to my Patreon, PayPal, YouTube, Super Thanks, leave a tip, or becoming a YouTube member on my channel. That is patreon.com/Baytuh, Baytuh, and or paypal.me/Baytuh, Baytuh. And or through YouTube Super Thanks, all you have to do is click on any one of my videos or mine touch, which is 99.9% of them. Then hit the little more heart thanks button, donate however much you want. But regardless how you choose to support me further, any and all donations, everyone's much appreciated, and is 100% completely optional. And with all that being said out of the way, without further ado, let's get started on this rambling review for Assassin's Creed Shadows. But first, some disclaimers. Disclaimer 1, like I said in my intro, Assassin's Creed Shadows is controversial for very, very stupid reasons, and there will most likely be people all across YouTube posting buzzwords that don't mean anything, and bigoted and racist remarks as well. Have all the criticisms you want, but the moment you cross the line and start posting nonsense like that on my channel, you will be blocked and comments will be removed. End of discussion, period. And disclaimer number 2, and I can't believe I have to say this one as well, but here we go. This is just my opinion, regardless of the free and early copy Ubisoft gave me. Spoilers, but I'm not going to be super negative on AC Shadows because I really like it a lot, even though I have some problems with it. And what I'm about to say might piss some of you off, but sorry not sorry. The reasons why I do these silly rambling reviews are not so you can make an informed decision whether you should get a game or not, or if my opinion agrees with the majority are saying, or if it lines up with IGN or Skillup or Kind of Funny or saying, or with what the minority is saying, or if I'm in the minority. Nothing of the sorts. I made these reviews because talking about my opinions on video games I like, dislike, love, have problems with is fun, because at the end of the day, for me personally, video games are so freaking dope. Alrighty, now on to what I think about Assassin's Creed Shadows. All in all, after 65+ hours doing all main missions, all assassination targets, lots of exploration, romances for Naoe and Yasuke, some BS fetch questy side activities, which are a bit of a problem, but I'll get into that a bit later. Also trying to figure out the new modern day anime stuff and listening to the amazing soundtrack.
Do not lurk in the shadows. Come, listen to my dark poetry.
I personally think that Ubisoft Quebec did a really great job with Assassin's Creed Shadows, like an 8.5 out of 10 in my personal opinion. An easy top 3 AC game for me, and given some more time with my thoughts and maybe more replays, I can easily see it being in my top 2 or even my favorite one day. But with all those great things said, it does run into a huge issue when it comes to its narrative, where it peaks for Act 1, and I'll touch on all this in the characters and story part of this review, but it peaks in Act 1, it dips quite a bit in Act 2 depending how you tackle Act 2, which again I'll touch on that later, and it peaks again in Act 3 depending how you tackle it. And that's because of the non-linear way of the main story. Plus, it doesn't help that the majority of the mission objectives are just, at this point, I would say, uninspired Ubisoft formula, stuff that we've seen in the other RPG Assassin's Creed games, plus Far Cry as well. And let's be 1000% honest here, it's in a lot of other open world RPGs or open world action adventure games like Ghost of Tsushima, which this game is going to be compared to death for a very, very long time, and Horizon series as well, like Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. I don't know why I say like the only two Horizon games. I guess there's Lego Horizon, but you get my point on that. I think the problem with Ubisoft doing it still is that they don't put any extra spin or extra sauce on it. They mastered it so well, it's become so tiring because you know what to expect. Even though it's daunting now, it's not bad, it's just daunting. You're just waiting for some extra sauce, but they play it fairly safe, which I guess isn't a bad thing, but I wish there was something more, like a plot twist, like, hey, I was Pikachu the whole entire time, but nah. Okay, I kind of take that back, but I mean, you know, towards the end of the game, dealing with Naue, it could have been, you know, with a particular character, it could have been written a lot better of how things went down. Like, oh my goodness, like that's the reason. And if you guys, you know, once you guys beat the game, come back to this rambling review and you're gonna be like, oh, that's the reason why things went down that way. Like this, it's a very stupid dumb anime villain type of thing. It's just like, wow, this could have been done way better for a better reason. But ultimately, I guess that's what happens when the overwhelming majority of the game, main and side content, is just target assassination based, like Hitman, which it definitely in a non-linear way, yeah, it definitely has, you know, its issues. But to steer things more into a positive way, it's a really great game from a gameplay point of view. I'll touch on this later in the gameplay section, which is going to be up next. But you know, to truncate it, it's a great for old school AC fans who love the assassin stealth focused gameplay of old, and new AC fans from the RPG era we're in right now, where you could just bomb rush your enemies and take down entire forts and castles like your Sung Jin Woo with ease. To nail things down a little more for Shadow, it's basically Assassin's Creed Origins 2.0 in a way. Just mainlining it, all you do is take down all of the main targets, do some personal quests that centers around Naue and Yasuke, and you're done. About 15 to 16 hours. Truly, like Assassin's Creed Shadows had what, like, excuse me, not Shadows, Origins. Origins had like what, 5 to 6 targets, I think, and one of which you take down in the first like 15-20 minutes of the game. So yeah, it's honestly pretty short comparatively to Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla, which, oh boy, Valhalla. I do not miss you one bit. That soundtrack and scenery are really good though. Interesting enough though, and here I come with a rambling tangent, but hey, it's called a rambling review. What do you expect? I was about 2 to 3% disappointed or even kind of split on that. And I know that sounds kind of odd given that I just said that Origins is still my favorite Assassin's Creed game, and any AC game going down that route already has a big W in my book. But given Ubisoft Quebec's last Assassin's Creed game being Odyssey, which I still like a lot, and the last big AC RPG game was Valhalla, a bloated game that I did not like, I maybe had a bit of my expectations set in the wrong direction. And what I mean by that is, and just a heads up, light spoilers for Shadows, again, nothing heavy for the spoilers, but just adding more context to what I'm saying that won't affect anything. Remember, Odyssey and Valhalla were heavy on the Itu and mythological stuff, like having to hunt down Medusa or having to play through the boring Asgard arc. But then if you bounce back to Origins, that game really didn't have much of that in the main story outside of the final boss and the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC. You're not getting isekai to another realm or anything like that, nor are you fighting larger than life enemies. None of that in the main scenario. Assassin's Creed Shadows is more like that, which shocked me. Again, these devs, Ubisoft Quebec, their last Assassin's Creed game was Odyssey, and the last RPG Assassin's Creed game was Valhalla, which sold the most in the franchise. And to play and find out that there's really none of that outside of a few things here and there, and to be honest, it's just one thing, one assassination objective board thing, no finding a secret weapon or armament piece from a Shinto god, no quick trip to Yomi or an Isu person showing up, Naoe or Yasuke aren't like, yo, what's up Izanagi, give me a spear or anything like that, or Amaterasu is like, here, black flame blade or black fireball Sasuke Uchiha style, or I should actually say Itachi Uchiha, because let's be honest, he's the better of the Uchihas. Yo, Kishimoto, what are we doing here? He should have survived. What are we doing here? But yeah, nothing of the sorts like that was in the game, which was surprising in a good way. And I know I'm sounding contradictory right now, and I mean, stick with me. Like, I know, again, I like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I do admit a lot of that stuff got a lot really heady very quickly, and it brought down and made that game very bloated way too much. And Valhalla, I mean, I'm gonna be 1000% honest with you, I don't even think that if you got rid of the Isu and mythological stuff in Valhalla, that would have saved the game for me. Who knows, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, I think, you know, if you're gonna add that stuff in the game, it should only be relegated to side content, not the main stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, like while playing Shadows, I was like an hour 10, hour 20, hour 30, even hour 50 and 40, or I should say 40, 50, not 50, 40. You get my point. Like, I was wondering, like, if I go do this exclamation part side content, this side content, climb this mountain, this shrine, this over here, talk to this NPC, like, when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna pop out? When is all of the myth stuff is going to happen? When is the Isu stuff going to happen? And how is it going to make sense in the story and the lore, given that all of the myths and the religions are part of the Isu? But none of that happened. Heck, we don't even know what the object inside of the box that got stolen from Naoe even does. We don't even know that. But again, sorry, like, at least you can see where I'm coming from, because I honestly thought that this was the direction that they were going with Assassin's Creed for the most part, because again, like, Assassin's Creed Origins really didn't have much of that stuff in the game. Odyssey had a lot more, and Valhalla had even way more than that. So it's like, I mean, can you kind of blame me? Because I was a little interested to see like how it all weaves into the story, to the narrative, to these characters and whatnot. Like, are we gonna have Japanese, you know, Shinto gods and maybe even some African gods because of Yasuke to come over? I have no freaking clue. All that regardless, Assassin's Creed Shadows is still a pretty freaking great game. Really great game. Alright, let's move on to the gameplay. This one should be short and sweet. Shadows, for me at least, has the best combat in the series. You don't really run into the same problems that Odyssey and Valhalla has, for the most part, where you could just blaze through and raffle stomp enemies with ease, unless you're like me and you do like 40 hours of power leveling via side quests side quests and side content, side activities, or what have you nots, and unlock dope skills to utterly obliterate your foes like I did. Also, I won't dive too deep into the stealth part of the gameplay, mostly because, not because it's bad or anything like that. I think it's good, it's fine or whatever. It's mostly because it's just how I played it. I played it in the most basic ways, like I do all the other Assassin's Creed games or any game that has stealth in it. I just, you know, play it in the most basic ways, like, hey, here's a tall piece of grass, or hide behind cover. When the enemy walks by, stealth kill, slash, like that, or use the bell or the whistle to get someone's attention, or, you know, on the mostly chance I get caught, well, you know how it goes. You know, the basics. Sorry, I'm not, what's their name on YouTube? Stealth Gamer BR, who does the MLG, like he's competing in an MLG competition of the best stealth gameplay on YouTube with like Dishonor and Deathloop and whatnot. Like, I'm not that good. I'm not that good at all. Well, anywho, whether it's with Yasuke or Naoe, most enemies will block, parry, deflect, do blue flurry moves, or someone's entire moveset is just the red unblockable attacks that will ignore all the damage you do just to get to you. Also, ranged attackers using the bow and rifle to fire constantly at you, so you have to be on your toes for the most part. The devs did a really good job differentiating our protagonist playstyles, where one is better in a lot of cases over the other, and vice versa. Take Naoe as an example. She shines the most doing the stealth assassin stuff, can get in and out of situations quickly quickly, and is way stinking better for exploration than Yasuke. But she's also good at close combat as well, to a point though, as long as she's fighting 3 to 4 enemies at a time. Anymore, and it could be a problem because she has very little health and does small amounts of damage. On normal difficulty, the difficulty I play as, or play, not play, excuse me, play in, or play, not play in, play on, sorry, about 4 to 5 good hits on her and she's pretty much dead. While on the plus side of things, she can apply poison and bleed damage, daze, all critical chance, critical hit, all that stuff very quickly because of how fast she can move. On the flip side though, stealth with the big homie Yasuke is mostly pointless. It is possible, but it's mostly meh. He's really slow and very loud. He can't use most of the stealth advantages like Naoe can, and ultimately it just doesn't suit him. Dude is a samurai. The up close and personal combat is way more of his style, like Eivor or Cassandra. Being able to tank most hits left and right, taking on 10 plus enemies at a time, then yelling Yasuke and knowing who he is and wanting to kill the legendary samurai is super freaking fun. You truly can't go wrong choosing a specific playstyle, or if you're like me and use both of them constantly for different situations and scenarios. Aside for exploration and traversal, like I said, Naoe is way faster and she can parkour to get to things that Yasuke just really can't do, like a lot of the synchronization points in the main cities and towns. I guess the one big criticism I would have when it comes to the combat, the gameplay scenarios, and it's mostly I guess it could possibly mostly be a me thing, because like I said, I power level for like 40 to 50 hours after doing what, like the 4th or 5th target on the Shimbaku main mission list. And I was like, okay, let me just screw off and explore the world, do all these side activities, these other side assassination targets and all this stuff to power level and whatnot. Then when I jump back into the main scenarios, I'm like, oh, the enemies are really easy to take down now. Like, yeah, sure, they can pose a challenge here and there a little bit, but it's, you know, you could take them down pretty easily. So I wish there was like a more of a, I mean, I guess I could have increased the difficulty a little bit, but I wish they had, you know, like different moves or unique abilities that they could use, different movesets. Outside of a few bosses here and there, it's mostly the samey. And I would say another nitpick downside of the gameplay in this game is that the number of weapons you get, at least from the melee side of things. I didn't really use any of Yasuke's range weapons like the bow or the tempo rifle all that often because they weren't that interesting to me, and I didn't use the Kanabo club, I guess, until like late into the game when I found a really good legendary one, because that one didn't get interesting to me until later on. I mainly just stuck with his long katana and Naginata spear. For Naoe, I mainly just use her katana and Kusarigama because those were really fun to use. For the Tanto, I just use that, you know, for mostly double assassinations when the opportunity arise for me, and also it's pretty flashy, but mostly again her katana, Kusarigama, and also her tools, her kunai and whatnot, are pretty fun to use. But I wish we had more selection for the both of them. I know in the upcoming expansion, which I think it comes out later this year, it seems like Naoe gets a new weapon. It looks like a wooden staff that she gets. I don't know about Yasuke, but it seems like Naoe gets a new melee weapon. I wish we had at least maybe one or two, I think like maybe one more melee weapon would do the trick. Like, I mean, this is only going because I don't know much about feudal Japanese, you know, sword weaponry that they used back in the day. But like, I'm only going off of from, you know, the Japanese games I play, like Neo and whatnot. Like maybe like the oxtail or like the odachi for Yasuke and whatnot. I don't know, but you know, maybe just one or maybe two more weapons could have made a big difference right there. Alrighty, moving on to the final big topic of this review, the characters and story. This one I hope will be a little short since I'm not going to spoil things, but knowing me, I'll probably end up doing an extra 5 minutes of rambling like I'm doing right now and not getting to the topic at hand. So with all that being said, let's get to it. Just like a lot of what the preview said back in January, the prologue is probably the strongest in any Assassin's Creed game, but personally I'd go a step further and say that the entirety of Act 1, which is about the first 3 to 4 hours or the first 3 main targets, are amazing. Setting up all of the stakes, seeing all of the tragedy and what needs to be done for Naoe was a treat. Yasuke's main story though doesn't come into play until the very beginning of Act 2, and in my opinion it has the strongest writing in the game given his history with some of the main targets targets and characters in the game. Together, Yasuke and Naoe make for great and memorable protagonists, not Ezio or Bayek levels of iconic, but with time I can see it. And hopefully, given how this game could end with the revelations and declarations, I hope to see their characters and personalities fleshed out even more. The best parts of the main story are the personal quest for Yasuke and Naoe. With Naoe, it's her discovering what she's meant to do as an assassin, building a new brotherhood, and her finding out what happened to the old Japanese brotherhood. With Yasuke, it's about his past and hunting down a particular organization. Now, for the majority of the main story and villains, which is about finding the box and stopping the Shinbaku, they were fine. I'd say most of them were just throwaway villains who decided to join just because of power, reason of I just want to, or they're just bored. That's the type of vibe I got off of them. You know, those type of villains. Hell, most of them don't even care for the box or they're not much of a threat towards Naoe or Yasuke. Like I said before, the game peaks in the first and third acts, while the second act, for the most part, depending how you go about it, again, because of how the non-linear fashion of the main missions, they're just like the optional assassination targets from Odyssey and Valhalla, but this time they're mandatory, but there's only a little over 12 of them, so it's not that bad. It seems like Ubisoft Quebec wanted the game story to be like Act 1 and 3, but ended up falling to the target-based mission structure of Act 2, which takes up the majority of the playtime. And very, very light spoilers, what I'm about to say, and again, nothing heavy. This is just for your own, this is actually for your own good, and I'm going to get to another thing in the just random rambles I got for the next part, which is going to take like a minute, but this is actually very important. I highly recommend that you hit around level 30, which shouldn't take you too long, then do the Fox Shinbaku main target as soon as possible. You'll thank me later for that. I highly recommend doing that. It'll definitely help with the pacing and the narrative. Because if you like me when it comes to open world games that I vibe with, I do some main stuff, then go do like a metric shit ton of side stuff, then come back and then do the main missions. And for Shadows, I did that. I did the first 6 to 7 hours of main questing, which is about the first 5 to 6 main targets. Then I went and did 40 hours of side content like one does. And then I came back to do some more main questing, and I was wondering, why is the pacing all off, which caused some issues for me given the non-linear nature of the main missions. That target was my very last one in the third act, which was hour 60 for me, near the end of the game, and I'm sitting here wondering, when the heck is Yasuke's story and his quest going to pick up again in a big way? And yeah, once you do that particular target, it does. Oh freaking man, it does. And that's probably my biggest issue with how the non-linear story is, because yes, you could tackle that or any of the targets at any time if you're a high enough level, but for forward momentum purposes and continuing the plot and wanting to see more story from Yasuke and Naoe, that could be a huge drag in Act 2 or whenever your Act 2 could end and Act 3 could begin, because most of the main targets do not carry the character's narratives forward. Like, you'll get some really cool story details here and there, you'll get introduced to an interesting side character or two, but that's about it. I truly wish the level recommendation for the Fox mission was at 34 or 35. Why lock something that important behind a high level and not introduce or have that target be near the early, middle, or beginning of Act 2 at a lower level? That has huge story and character stuff that branches out into bigger things. Like a perfect example, a continuation of Naoe's personal quest happens at the very beginning of Act 2. Why not introduce that target around that time as well? I mean, it technically it does, but it's locked behind that high level, because by the time you hit Act 2, you're about what, not even close to level 20 or something like that. So I don't know, man, I don't know. Now for the other characters in the game, which the only other ones that matter are the ones at the hideout, which you kind of don't even need to do, but the thing is, they're just fine. They're there, they're just there. I feel like the only interesting ones in terms of your companions are the Shinobi one, mainly because of the connection to the old Japanese brotherhood, Katsuhime because she's a shinobi like Naoe, and Onigiri because of her complicated history. I'd say that the best NPC at the hideout is Junjiro, mainly because of his growing bond with Naoe. All in all, they're not the best written in the franchise, but certainly not the worst. Alrighty, now for some quick rambles. Basically, this is just me rambling off a few things that didn't make into my full script. Alrighty, extra ramble number 1, the music. The music in this game is phenomenal and exhilarating. Definitely the combat music, the mix between, I know people had issues with it, but personally, I loved it. The mix between the hip-hop beats and traditional Japanese music, it just goes well so freaking much. I mean, it's not my fault that Black culture and Asian culture, in this instance, Japanese culture, mixes well together. I mean, it just does. Like, it sounds phenomenal. I mean, hell, it reminds me a lot of Samurai Champloo and Afro Samurai, 2 phenomenal anime that I love so much. That means a lot to my child. I mean, it means a lot to me, and something I watched during my childhood a lot. And extra ramble number 2, this one's more of advice. If you're gonna go out exploring, I highly recommend like sticking to the main roads or like a clear path. Like, if you start to go off like you would do in like Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla, you're gonna get lost and won't be able to traverse that much, even with Naue, because in this game, a lot of the regions, it's heavy, dense forest. So a lot of stuff you can't parkour over or parkour on or anything like that, and you'll just get stuck and just traveling just nowhere for a very long time. So it's very dense and heavy. Foliage is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a mathematician right now. So yeah, but yes, my main nitpick, gripe, ramble I have with the game is towards the side quests and the side activities in the game, mainly because of how they're labeled and presented to you. Like, do what you will when you get the game, tackle any of the quests, main targets in any order you want, do whatever you want, explore to your leisure and all that good jazz. But if you want to save yourself some time and sanity, I highly recommend you doing the quests that sort of doing like the exclamation mark, side activities, side quests, or what have you not, that starts with a the. Either like the betrayers or the pirate alliances, something along those lines. I'm not gonna say don't, because again, this is the issue with how the quests are labeled. The overwhelming majority of those exclamation points you have on your map that don't start with the, they're just fetch quest BS side activities, which again, they're an issue because most of them are like, hey, go kill 50 bandits to get this, whatever reward. Go kill 50 Ronin or 100 samurai. Find me 30 teacups, which is an actual side activity. Go find me origami butterfly insects or whatever, like stuff like that. But on the flip side, some of those exclamation points actually lead you to finding your companions if you want to recruit them. But the thing is, you can't tell the difference between the two. Plus, another thing, they can also lead to some interesting side quests like tempo smugglers. Like, I don't know why there's not a distinction between the two. There are like things on your map called rumors, which I do highly recommend doing those because those could lead you to some interesting quests. But why not have the side content that leads to the extra assassination targets or your companion stuff under the rumors, then have the origami fetch quest stuff under the side activities. I don't know, like, I mean, because there's not like a traditional mission list thing like in any other RPG Assassin's Creed game or other open world like Witcher or Horizon or Ghost. Like, it's just the objective board with all your targets, and it has up top like, here's the NPCs you met in each region, and again, they can lead you to the fetch quest stuff or the target stuff. I'm like, there needs to be a better distinction between the two, because it took me like a good 30 hours of me like traveling around going to each one. I'm like, all right, let me skip the dialogue because I know where this is gonna lead me. But oh no, wait, what? There's a shinobi killing samurai. Let me go investigate. Why is that labeled under the same thing? Because the other 90% of them are just like, hey, you wanna go find me some teacups? I don't know. It could have been done. A better job could have been done. Alrighty, that just about does it for my Assassin's Creed Shadows rambling review. All in all, despite the issues I have with some pacey stuff and Act 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a really great game and definitely, like I said, in my top 3 AC game. Like, Ubisoft Quebec really did a phenomenal job with this game. They did a great job. And yeah, that just about does it. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching my Assassin's Creed Shadows rambling review. This is what, my 8th, 9th, 10th rambling review video I've done for the channel. I'm planning on doing a little bit more reviews in the future. My next one probably won't be for a while. I'm planning on doing one for Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, just reviewing that game because we're getting Ninja Gaiden 4, which is my most anticipated game of the year. It was Assassin's Creed Shadows, but when Ninja Gaiden 4 got announced, I'm like, I'm a huge Ninja Gaiden fan, so I gotta do it. So yeah, so this was fun. I'm trying to get into more doing content like this for the channel. Like, my main main bread and butter is still the gameplay walkthroughs and sometimes live streams and sometimes let's plays, but I've been getting a lot of great feedback for my reviews, so I'm like, yeah, like why not? Plus it gives me it gives me a good excuse to flex my creative muscles, or I guess speak what I want to talk about when it comes to games that I like or dislike and whatnot. So yeah, thank you for the love and support. In terms of what's next for the channel, I'm going to be continuing my Assassin's Creed Shadows walkthrough. It's going to be a total of 8 parts, so be on the lookout for that, with some extra clips and different segments on Assassin's Creed Shadows. After that, if we have time, I will be streaming some 33 Immortals. That game, I really loved and enjoyed the beta. That game looks really cool, and now the full game is now out, so I can't wait for that. I might be streaming, I think the console release for Fragpunk is out as well, so hopefully I can have some time to stream some content of that game. But in terms of VOD full gameplay walkthroughs, my next ones are Adamfall and First Berserker Kazan. Since I am a little burnt out on the Souls-like formula, we're going to be doing Adamfall first, then First Berserker Kazan, but we're probably, I don't know if I'm going to speed through those, because South of Midnight, which I'm really looking forward to, that game comes out the first week of April, I believe, so we'll see about that. We still got lots of content coming to the channel from now to the end of 2025, so make sure you all subscribe, have that notification bell turned on, and set those notifications to all so you don't miss out on anything I post on this channel. And yeah, that's about it. Like I said, everyone, ladies and gents, everyone, thank you for watching this, and thank you for joining me for this Rambling review. Thank you for the love and support on this Rambling review, my other Rambling reviews, and my walkthroughs and my channel as a whole. Thank you much. I appreciate it. Before I let you guys all go, if you guys could please leave a like on this video, if you guys like what you saw, please subscribe for more content. It helps out this channel a lot. Also, when you do subscribe, make sure you hit the little notification bell next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content I post to this channel, and make sure you set those notifications to all as well. Please share my channel and my videos to all your friends, families, cats and dogs, and who nots. And you guys can all follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky as well at Baytuh, Baytuh. If you want to keep supporting me even further, you could do so by donating to my Patreon, PayPal, YouTube Super Thanks, leave a tip, or becoming a YouTube member on my channel. I don't know why I always draw out that last bit of the sentence. I don't know why I do that. I find it fun, but I don't know. I'm crazy like that, or silly. I don't know. Whatever. Excuse me. That is patreon.com/Baytuh, Baytuh, and or paypal.me/Baytuh, Baytuh, and or the YouTube Super Thanks. All you have to do is click on any one of my videos or monetize, which is 99.9% of them. Then hit the little more heart clicks button and donate however much you want. But regardless how you choose to support me further, any and all donations, everyone's much appreciated, and is 100% completely optional. And for my final time for my Assassin's Creed Shadows Rambling review, my name is Malcolm, also known as Baytuh, and I'm gonna catch you guys all on my next walkthrough, let's play, channel post update, live stream, Rambling review, basically whatever else I'll do next on this channel, which is going to be very, very, very soon. Peace, thank you all for watching, and I love you all.